What am I shooting at?
Throughout this wipe, I've been laid out the most by a mix of 855A1 and 856A1. Meaning the M4 is the current meta weapon, as it's the most versatile weapon due to its CQB competitive RPM while having good enough muzzle velocity and MOA for range. The only downside is the cost. If you don't want to sell your kidney for an M4 build, you'll need your traders maxed out to build what the streamers are using. But there are cheaper competitive builds at lower trader levels. So we're doing 4 different builds. The meta trader level 4, it comes first because we want to use it for a comparison, then trader level 2, then 3, and finally 4. As usual, all gun builds can be found in Discord gun builds channel, or you can pause the video at any point. Build costs do not include optic and laser as those are personal preference. You know what's better than 3 different gun builds? Over 700 free-to-play completely unique champions that you can collect. Similar to Tarkov weapons, these champions are infinitely customizable and can be ran PvE or PvP, against millions of players worldwide with over 80 million downloads. Raid Shadow Legends welcomes you into its expansive world building and deep lore. If you master its RPG elements, you can be tested at the Doom Tower. This tower is basically a giant prison. The Arbiter fought a pack of really nasty bad guys a long time ago, but she wasn't strong enough to finish them off. So instead she locked them up in a massive tower until she figured out how to deal with them. It's been a few thousand years and the Doom Tower is still there, so things aren't looking too good. What's worse, now that Cyroth is leaking back into the world, the Arbiter doesn't have enough power to keep the wards up. So with the Doom Tower failing, it's time for you to step up. To climb to the top, you're going to need an army of champions. The regular Doom Tower floors are pretty easy to deal with if you have a decent team, but the bosses are really tough, and you need some serious specialists if you're going to beat them. You'll generally want ways to remove debuffs, and you'll also want pretty high resistance. Lots of Doom Tower bosses ignore block debuffs, and they can really mess up your guys, like draining their turn meters or stripping their buffs. I could theorycraft for ages, but the real fun is trying things out and experimenting yourself. With Raid Call of the Arbiter being the hot new thing this month, Raid Shadow Legends itself is getting updated with lots of cool new content related to the limited series. We're talking about new champions, a new artifact set, events, and more. There's even updated champion backstory that have just been added to the game. If you love lore as much as I do, you wouldn't miss out on this kind of content. What are you waiting for? Use my link in the description or scan my QR code to get a head start or an upgrade to your collection. We're talking an epic champion, knight errant, and other useful things like energy refills, skill tomes, and XP boosters. Once you're in, you can find me through Plarium under Tayoff. Hurry up, add me, and come raid. Okay, starting with the streamer build. This wipe, the M4A1 S has been locked behind the guide, so I've been using a Noveske upper instead. It has the same recoil reduction as the TX15 upper, but I think the ergo increase is worth the cost difference. For the rest of the build, the biggest difference between a max trader build and a lower level build are these guys. The couple percent from them adds up and allows you to get sub 35 vertical without destroying ergo. Without optic and laser and with traders, this build adds up to around 313k. And if you don't have traders, it can add up to 700k, which is ridiculous. For our level 2 build, we don't want to pay 700k for a build, but we also don't have enough parts from level 2 traders, so we'll have to do a mix of parts from traders and parts from Flea that are equivalent to its trader price. From traders, you're paying around 70k, and from Flea, you'll be paying around 110 to 130k depending on time of day and availability of parts. So your total should be around 170 to 200k rubles based on market fluctuations. With this build in comparison with the meta build, you're looking at about 7 vertical recoil and 24 horizontal recoil difference. Let's see what the difference looks like in game. It's not bad for an 800 RPM level 2 trader 556 slinger. Now our problem is the massive gap in ergo, which ends up not being that big of a difference once we have our mag in, because with the endgame M4 you're going to have access to 60 rounders, and you're going to be using that. While with level 2 traders, we only have access to 30s. Now if you're not a Hera Arm CQR enjoyer because of its cost, do not simply downgrade the foregrip. The reason we're paying 24 to 30k for handguard is because you can use the Hera Arm CQR. If you're dropping the Hera, run this build instead. MOE SL for handguard with the 4.1 inch M-lock and any -2 recoil grip. You will end up with about 40 vert and at least 50 ergo depending on what grip you run. This also brings our cost down to around 140 to 170k because you have the replacement parts unlocked from traders. For trader level 3, go to mechanic 3 and grab the GP coin trade-in, which totals to about 120 to 140k. We want to drop our buffer tube, stock, and OMRG pistol grip, and we're replacing it with the ATP buffer in the DS150 stock. For pistol grip, we want the F1 style 1, a Hera Arm CQR for grip, you're buying this off of Flea, and then grab a Thunder Beast combo for suppressor. If you want to drop recoil by 1 point, you can run the 406mm barrel, which is practically free if you care enough to buy a broken ADAR off of market, and NPC the 370mm along with the ADAR parts. This totals to around 210 to 230k after selling our extra parts from the trade-in. a slight price bump compared to our level 2 build with an equal amount of performance difference relative to the bump. We can use our ergo increase to run 40 rounders and still manage to keep our ergo near the 50 mark. At trader level 4, I like to build off of the same trader level 3 build, but with upgrades. Starting with buffer tube and stock, of course we have the advanced buffer and MOE with butt pad. For pistol grip we go for the Graal S. And for gas block we run the JP Enterprises Gas System 5B. That's about 140k in parts, and including the trading costs we're looking at around 250 to 270k after selling our extra parts. For ammo we have 3 choices. Unfortunately 856A1 is the only option at level 2 traders. From Peacekeeper we can buy 150 per reset for around 500 rubles a round. 200 rounds can also be crafted every 12.5 hours for around 475 rubles a round. This round is decent against class 4, but there's a high chance of Uloks eating the round, especially at range, so it's not ideal. 856A1 is the baseline. If you don't have access to it, don't even bother with 556. Now at trader level 3, this is where the world opens up, because by trader level 3 you should have workbench 3, giving you the 995 craft. It poops out 200 rounds every 15 hours or so at about 1000 rubles per round, which is the same cost as 855A1 that unlocks at Peacekeeper 4. And after reaching level 4, you'll never run out of 556 because you'll have access to all 3. You could top load 995 and go 1010 in the rest of the mag, or bottom load 15856A1 and top load 15855A1 for Timmy maps like Woods. It all depends on your playstyle and map choice. If you're a GigaChat PvP chaser, then top load more 995. If you're a Timmy Slayer stash looter, then top load less 995. Let's go back to the price of each build. 170 to 200k for a level 2 build, 210 to 230k for a level 3, 250 to 270k for a level 4 build, and then finally a massive bump to 313k for a meta build. I would say these 4 builds are fairly competitive with each other despite the price difference. So if you're an AR style enjoyer like I am, do run these builds. If you don't care about enjoyment and price to performance is the only thing that matters, there are situationally superior options, as the M4 is the jack of all trades. And those builds, well, that's for our next video. Like the video if it helped, consider subbing with Bell, drop a comment, follow me on Twitch and other socials, all gun builds will be in the Discord, thanks for watching.